Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S MindLab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever found yourself in a first conversation and just felt a click or felt totally awkward? Wondering why? Well, today we're diving into a fascinating new study about measuring that feeling of safety and connection, especially when you first meet someone. It's about a super important idea called felt safety, and how tricky it is to actually measure. Imagine meeting someone for the very first time, that awkward wave, the small talk, trying to figure out if this is going to be a friendly chat or just an exchange. What makes the difference between a connection and just passing time? The researchers in this study believe it all comes down to something they call felt safety. It is that gut feeling that you are okay being your real self around this new person. And this feeling is huge for whether we connect with others. It's not just about awkward first dates though, it's about belonging, which the researchers say is super important for our health and well-being. You know, feeling part of a group like you matter, that can start with just one good first meeting. But here is the kicker, and it's the core problem this research tackles. How do you measure something you feel? It's like trying to measure the warmth of the sun by holding up a mirror. The very act of trying to measure it can change it, and that is exactly what happened to our researchers. First off, felt safety is inside us. It's not something you can see directly like someone's smile. It's a feeling, a subjective experience. Second, and this is a big one, trying to measure it often messes up the very thing you're trying to measure. Think about wearing a bunch of sensors while you're trying to have a natural conversation. Would you act the same? Probably not. And third, sometimes people are really good at acting. They can seem warm and friendly on the outside, even if they don't feel safe or connected at all. So just watching their behavior can be super misleading. So the researchers tried 3 different ways to get a handle on this elusive feeling of felt safety. They started with trying to measure the body's response. They thought maybe our bodies give us clues. They planned to use things like heart rate variability and something called electrodermal activity, which basically measures the tiny electrical signals on your skin. The idea was that when you feel safe, your body has a certain calm signature. But guess what happened? In their early tests, people had to wear these sensors and wires, and just being hooked up, being aware that their bodies were being monitored completely changed how they interacted. It made the whole encounter feel unnatural and stiff. The very tools they used to measure felt safety actually destroyed the feeling they wanted to measure. And it wasn't just a minor inconvenience. For some participants, especially those who were already feeling anxious, the sensors made them freeze up. The researchers realized that a stressed environment produced by the measurement itself was the exact opposite of what they needed to study felt safety. So they had to ditch the body sensors. Okay, no body clues. What else could they do? They moved on to looking at behavior. They created a checklist called the NSI, where a single observer would watch interactions and record specific actions. They watched 15 different pairs of people meeting for the first time, and this is where they hit another wall. A really important one called the masking paradox. They saw interactions that looked perfectly fine on the surface. People were smiling, talking smoothly. Everything seemed okay. But the problem was, the behavior itself didn't guarantee felt safety. Just like an actor can portray a feeling convincingly without actually feeling it. People can display warm behavior without feeling genuinely safe or connected. So, just watching what people do can't tell you how they feel. This led them to their last resort. If you can't measure it from the outside with sensors, and you can't trust just watching behavior because it can be faked, then who's left? The other person in the interaction, they decided to try asking each person in the pair to rate the other. This is called partner report. Instead of asking, how safe did you feel? They asked, how safe did your partner seem during this interaction? And how did the interaction go from your perspective, observing your partner? This is a key shift. You don't rate yourself, you rate your partner and the shared experience from your unique viewpoint within it. They believe that while someone might fake their own feelings, it's harder to fake your perception of your partner's responsiveness, how understood and valued they seemed. Their first attempt at this, called Design -12, was super basic. It had 12 questions and they only tested it on one single pair of people. It was a tiny first step, a proof of concept. Then they worked on refining the questions, creating a larger set of potential items for the instrument, which they called Design -14. This was more about building the toolkit of questions, not actually testing it out on many people yet. Next, they expanded the number of questions to 18, organizing them into 6 different categories or factors. This was a theoretical step, meaning they had the questions and the plan structure, but they hadn't collected data from many people to see if that structure actually worked. And that brings us to design -18, the instrument they're discussing now. They decided to simplify the structure. Instead of 6 categories, they narrowed it down to 4 main factors, and they have 4 questions for each factor, making it a neat 16-item scale. These 4 factors are engagement, responsiveness, relational attunement, and perceived safety, and we-ness. Engagement is about things like eye contact and listening cues. Responsiveness is about feeling understood and valued, relational attunement, and perceived safety focuses on the ease and natural flow of the conversation. And that feeling of safety and we-ness, this is really interesting. It's about that nascent feeling of shared identity, of us emerging even in a brief encounter and a desire for that connection to continue. It's important to know that this 4-factor structure is still a hypothesis. They haven't done a big statistical analysis on lots of data to prove it works this way yet. It's a theory-driven model that they believe captures the essence of felt safety and inclusion. So, why partner report? It wasn't their first choice, but it was the one that's left after the other methods failed. Physiology was too intrusive. Behavior could be masked. The partner's perspective is seen as the remaining viable way to get at the feeling of safety. And why 4 factors instead of 6? The researchers felt that having too many small categories, especially with only 3 questions each, made the structure unstable. They wanted fewer, more robust categories to avoid overlap. They also included a single overall question at the end. Like, overall, this interaction felt good for me. But they deliberately kept it separate from the main factors. They didn't want it to be a 5th category, because a general good feeling can correlate with everything, and might not give a clear picture of specific areas like engagement or responsiveness. A big goal for this instrument is to be short and easy to use, even on a phone. This means it could be really useful in programs where people meet for the first time, like buddy systems, where you need quick feedback on how pairings are going. Now, it's crucial to be clear about what this paper isn't. It's a development paper, meaning they've built the instrument, but they haven't fully tested and proven it yet. They don't have evidence yet that the instrument consistently measures the same thing, which is called reliability. That means they don't have numbers like alpha or test-retest reliability, which are standard measures for how dependable a psychological test is. As I mentioned, the 4-factor structure is still a hypothesis. They need to run large studies to see if the questions actually group together the way they expect. And remember that first partner report test. It was just one pair of people, so it tells us very little about how it works in general. So, to be absolutely clear, we can't really infer how well this instrument works from the research presented here. It's like building a prototype car. It shows it can be built, but we don't know its fuel efficiency or safety ratings yet. A whole new study is planned specifically to validate design -18. This validation study will look at things like internal consistency, whether the 4 factors really exist, how well the attention check works, and importantly, whether this partner report measure actually reflects genuine felt safety and isn't just picking up on superficial warmth. One key thing they'll test is if design -18 measures felt safety, and not just how friendly someone looks. This is super important because if it just measures outward friendliness, it won't capture the real depth of connection or disconnection. So, what is the big takeaway? Design -18 is a clever attempt to measure that crucial feeling of felt safety in new relationships, using the partner's perspective as the best available option after other methods proved too difficult. The instrument has a clear story of evolution born from trying to overcome measurement challenges. Right now, it's a promising instrument, but it's not yet a proven one. The real test will come with the validation study. But the idea of measuring that initial spark of US in first meetings from the only angle that doesn't break the magic is pretty compelling. It might just help us understand and foster better connections, one first meeting at a time. What do you all think about this idea of partner report for measuring safety? Could you see yourself using something like this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dive into the psychology of connection, please give this video a like and subscribe to RUBIN'S MindLab for more. Well, see you in the next one.